Let's start from Unit 1, Daily Routine. In daily routine, we talked about present simple tense. So, when we talk about present simple tense, we have two types of the patterns or the formulas. The first one is the verb to be. As you can see it, with this section, is MR is they are actually representing verb to be, but you also have one more types of the verb, which is the base verb, the verbs of doing. So as you can see, those regular verbs that you studied before. So there are two types of the present simple patterns that you need to understand. And of course, you need to understand the basic idea of how to create a sentence in affirmative or positive sentence, and in negative statements or negative sentence, and also in a question. So these three patterns should be a part of your understanding before we move on. In terms of this, I hope that you have no issues with the pattern. So let's move on with another exceptions that I want you to take a look is the idea of a negative statement. You have to be what you have to be careful with. What I would like to emphasize here is you have to be careful with this types of sentences. There is one example, like when it comes to affirmative sentence for the subject of she, he, it, you have a possibility to create the verb that should suit with the subject. For example, she has a cat, or he has a cat, or Annie has a cat. You have to be careful because you need to use has instead of have. But when it comes to a negative sentence, you have to make sure that you don't say she doesn't has, but it should be the formula of she doesn't have. You have to make sure that you need to use the base verb, not the has one. So I think that should be the exceptions that you need to be careful. So with that being said, let's move on with the functions of the simple present tense. The first is when you talk about habits, it means that when you talk about your daily activities, when you talk about something that you regularly do, you need to actually use present simple tense. So when it comes to the idea of habit, you need to use it. These are the examples of the sentences that you can see it yourself. Or when it comes to another idea, when you actually use simple present when you want to talk about something that is true, something that it's related with your information or any information surrounding you, but that is true. So when it comes to that idea, you also have to use simple present tense. The next one, number 3, is like when you talk about a general facts or truths, you also need to use simple present tense. So when it comes to a general truth or fact, basically you need to understand that usually it has been proven by science, and it comes from the empirical study that you actually hear it from trusted theoretical idea of someone, or those kind of like experts, let's say. So as you can see it, like the earth is not flat, or the sun rises in the east. I think that is like an example on how you actually present a general truth or fact, because the science or the nature has proven so. The next one is about the future fixed timetables or schedules. So when it comes to the schedules or timetables of, let's say, your flights in the airports, or like when you talk about your schedules on a bus station, like in a train station. So you might be able to see the schedule in a fixed time schedule, right? So that is when you talk about your schedule in simple present tense. Or for example, you can talk about your class schedule. That is when you have the fixed schedule or timetable that you have, so you need to use simple present tense. And the last one, when you want to give instructions or advice to someone, or anyone that you know, so you can use simple present tense too. So I think that's 5 functions that you need to know and how to use it when it comes to simple present tense.